So this week is Parashat Kitisa, and I call it the chapter in the book, When to Abstain from Creating and Meditate on Being Created. That's really what I think of when I think about Shabbat, which is written about in this parasha, which is actually the only Jewish ritual written in the Ten Commandments, and the one Jewish ritual mentioned more than any other in the Torah. We read, Hashem says to Moshe, "And you speak to the children of Israel, saying, just observe my Sabbaths, for it is a sign between me and you, for generations, ledorotam, to know that I am Hashem, who sanctifies you." Rabbi Nachman says ledorotam is similar to dira, meaning a dwelling place. So it's in this space of Shabbat that we need to create a dwelling for the holiness. And in Sefer Yetzirah, it says the 6 days of creation, the 6 days are masculine energy, and the seventh day, Shabbat, is the feminine energy. And it's these 6 days that are pointed outwards, but it's Shabbat, the feminine, that is the focal point and the center which everything is being received towards. And Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan says, our external relationships are masculine energy, but when we look at ourselves, our inner, this is a feminine entity. All week long, our struggle to gain spirituality are on a masculine level. But on Shabbat, we're on a female level, absorbing the fruits of the labor of all that we did during the week. Without Shabbat, there'd be no way of receiving. And as we know, when a female receives 1 million sperm, she chooses only one, fertilizes the egg, and gives back an entire life. This is a receiving, but what comes from it is a completion. And Rabbi Kaplan says that masculinity is giving, but femininity is receiving and completing. So Shabbat is a time where we could abstain from creating and stop emulating the Creator, trying to tackle everything in the natural world and create just like Hashem, and actually meditate on being creations and being fully present, detoxing from all the electronics, all the distractions, and tapping into the infinite. I love this quote from Mark Twain. If the statistics are right, the Jews constitute but 1/4% of the human race. It suggests a nebulous puff of stardust lost in the blaze of the Milky Way. Properly, the Jews ought hardly be heard of at all, but he is heard of. He has always been heard of. He is as prominent on the planet as any other people, and his importance is extravagantly out of proportion to the smallness of his bulk. His contributions to the world's list of great names in literature, science, art, music, finance, medicine are also very out of proportion to the weakness of his numbers. He has made a marvelous fight in the world in all ages, and has done it with hands tied behind his back. He could be vain of himself and be excused for it. The Egyptians, the Babylonians, the Persians rose, filled the planet with sound and splendor, then faded to the dream stuff and passed away. The Greeks and Romans followed and made a vast noise, and they were gone. Other people have sprung up, held their torch high for a time, but it burnt out, and they sit in twilight and have vanished. The Jews saw them all, survived them all, and is now what he always was, exhibiting no decadence, no infirmities of age, no weakening of his part, no slowing of his energies, no dulling of his alert but aggressive mind. All things are mortal but the Jews. All other forces pass, but he remains. What is the secret of his immortality? I believe Ahad Ha'am, who's famously quoted, answers this question that Mark Twain poses. And he says, more than the Jews have kept Shabbat, Shabbat has kept the Jews. Shabbat Shalom.